Spanglish, we have really good people. Yeah. Bertrand, Guru, and Joel.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's get together.
So, yeah.
But I liked a lot your questions, so I would like to follow that approach also. We were going to talk about regulation, which is a thing like a lot more like tangible, but whatever you want. Maybe talking a little bit about the philosophy of decentralization and the philosophy of regulation, which is a little bit more centralized, but it's something that we need. Like these are the two worlds that are not connected and that cannot connect, or these are two worlds that can connect through regulation. We need it. We don't need it. We have to be like in Spanish we call it Pero es que no me está saliendo español tampoco. O sea, que demonizamos, we demonize like the institutions a lot, many times. The thing is, we have to do that. It's like, it's needed, why we do it, and which is our approach. And whatever, I don't know how to answer these questions. So whatever you want to say also, it's welcome. We were going to talk about regulation, but
I think
whatever we want.
The context of regulation and centralization. You can be regulated and decentralized. I don't know why. So you can be regulated. The regulated content is close to the blockchain content, but don't necessarily be independent content that can be in the same place or in the same business, because the regulation save me from the scams. Because I need a little regulation that could save me from the scams, that could save me, could protect me, or a regulation that I could accuse or both, like a not like a bank, but like a system that could help me if I have been scammed, or how can I solve this problem. All this free, I can scam free, and I can scam free without any consequence. Okay, let's scam, and then vale.
I have arguments against that. There's many scams being done in the regulated areas.
Exactly.
But can I say something? I think those scams, because they find like holes in the regulation, and then they apply. So what you are saying is right, but also is wrong, because they only happen because it was not well defined.
Okay. Okay, that's one big.
I'm with her. I'm with her. Please. Let's go. Yeah, let's go one by one. First. Yeah.
Okay.
They are some people who are human, and we are several people.
Joel.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go with Joe. He wants to say something.
I mean, there are institutional scams.
We know that.
And we also know the concept of decentralization, the concept of blockchain distributed ledger is not created by the people in the street. It was created by the institutions. Right? There are a lot of research that has done. Most of the best blockchain protocol that started, that we think is big right now, started from the university. So, product of research. But let's not get that. And also when we come here, talk about regulation, right? The amplification of blockchain started from the people based on Bitcoin and whatever. And a lot of people come into the ecosystem with this predefined financial freedom perspective, which to me it's problematic. Right? That is the only problem we're facing right now. The financial incentives. A lot of people comes to this ecosystem with, okay, I need to make money, a money printing mechanism. And that is the only problem. Like, I remember like 4 years ago, I was talking about the concept of NFT, that if the technology is properly used, right, it could solve a lot of problems. But a lot of people who actually using NFT are not thinking about the technology impact. They're just thinking about making this a money print.
Yep.
And that will always result in scam.
Yep.
Don't forget the concept of pyramid scheme. right? It was from the institutional perspective. Bank still scamming you. You don't know. Right? The
or we
fee,
do know, or we know also.
The transaction fee, those are legalized scams. Those are institutional scams. And also the centralization doesn't mean everybody has to operate in a closed environment. Like decentralized and still it does. Have to be like, okay, this is me, I'm building this project. Decentralization simply means the inclusiveness of everybody could be able to participate in it. Like now, I have my Binance card, right? My friends in Nigeria have a Binance card, but can you have a Bank of America card where you live in Spain? Practically impossible. Just decentralize, include other people. But right now, we've not actually experienced the decentralization. It's not.
I'm totally with you, but why are those impositions? Like why you cannot? I don't know. Like in that example, but why you have certain controls and certain red flags or red lines that you cannot cross. The thing is, I think that regulation is done to protect the little investor.
Okay, so the concept
That's
is
that's the first thing.
that's the theory.
But that's the theory. But of course, we have seen in the 2008 crisis how SEC did anything with what the banks were doing. We saw here in Spain banks selling. Here we call it preferentes, which was a kind of it was a scam. No, it was a scam that had like no consequences for the banks because of the idiosyncrasy that the banks have in Spain, in all the world.
That is what we face right now. Decentralization.
She's trying to.
I'm sorry. You're more interested, way more interesting.
So decentralization comes with you are fighting against. You try to take power from people who already have power, right? Imagine you have rows of money, right? And I just come out of nowhere with a new concept that you need to share your money. And now you want to protect your money. You need to protect your interest, right? The bank has been operating so long, right? They become resistant for new concepts, something that goes against their own belief. And they will always figure out a way to prevent that. And don't forget that most of the banks are actually sponsored in government institutions, right? Bank are actually, like when it comes to vote, you see a lot of banks putting money into politics. Are you ready to do that? You want to influence the decision makers, you need to be able to close their mouth. Right? We're not rich enough because decentralization just makes everybody want to make. So, and that's why we come up with the concept of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, where we bring people together to form a union to try to, and I remember back, I think last year, there were like in little centralized exchanges, they form their own DAO, they're fighting against the regulation, where a lot of people supported that. But we were supporting it because they were fighting for the bigger scope of blockchain adoption, right? That was the support. But they are the guys with money. We are just the we cannot change a lot of things. The only thing we could change is to influence ourselves, become not so resistant to new emerging technology like other institutions are right now because they are super resistant because now you're trying to take food away from their mouth. And they will do everything to prevent that.
So we have a lot of power as little investors.
I'm
going to put you an example after that.
Okay. There was okay, the first thing I want to do is I really like to define things. Okay. Because regulation, what is regulation and what's in your head as regulation and what in his head as regulation and what he thinks is regulation.
Okay.
He believes that regulation should be to protect his grandma. But regulation, the only thing that it has done for me is scan me officially. Okay? Well, I don't remember if it was Guru or you that said that the regulation should be done in the crypto world by the crypto people. It wasn't your panel, or I don't know. My
It was
head
the
is-
panel, I remember, but it's not.
It was. But you know, the thing about regulation. So for me, regulation is one thing, and when I was in the world, I was in the telecoms industry. No. El gran evento este que se hace en Barcelona.
El
con
mobile.
Okay, I was in the mobile, okay, and I was I'm very naive about certain things, basically because I've been cooking for 17 years. So I went there and I was so proud, and I went to this big blockchain, one of the 2 blockchain talks that were there. And when I walked in, it was banks and big centralized exchanges talking about regulation, and I almost died. I mean, I was the big red spot in the conference, and it was invited, and I don't know why I was there. But what I had to hear is that the big problem right now in implementing the CBDCs is that they don't really know how to establish a quota for the people to have money in. Because right now, no one can come to my restaurant, pay me in cash for over 999 euros. But so they're trying to establish a quota and to make people not have CBDCs for over an X amount, but they don't know how to do it. Well, that's a big problem for them. So that what's regulation for you, what's regulation for you, and what's regulation for me, it's completely different.
Yeah, that's for sure. For me, it's if I can define like what is for me, it's just like the framework of the playground in which you are playing.
And who enforces that?
It depends.
But,
I mean, if there is a government that sets up the regulation, the blockchain is independent of the government, and that's a problem. And in any case, it means there is a third trusted party that is giving some limits
Of course.
to the way you're using the technology, and are every user of the blockchain trust that third party?
That's for sure, and that's why we have like, and I'm not like positioning myself anywhere, but that's why we trust the euro or the dollar or those things, because they are backed by the oh, you don't. I do, because I pay my things on euro. So I trust. I know that I'm going to.
mi poder de compra, my buying power has been lost for. I have lost my buying power. How do you call that?
Yeah, but what do you use if not?
I've lost 25% of my purchasing power in a year.
Yeah, but what do you use
In
if not?
Barcelona with euros.
But you use and trust are different things. Like,
Yeah,
you use it because there's no other way to pay for it things, but it doesn't.
But I
No,
don't
but you are
trust it.
trusting that if you have
I'm not trusting
if you have 10
anything.
euros, 20 euros, 50 euros, you are trusting that those euros are going to help you buy tomorrow. Maybe not the same amount of things that that you are going to buy today, but
No.
something.
No consensus, because when you
something
pay
there
your
is.
alquiler, your rent, you pay in euros, and the person will be receiving
But-
in euros, and there is a consensus there.
Yeah.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, the consensus I understand.
Yeah.
But the money is another thing.
Yeah.
Me cuesta más con.
But I was saying.
Yeah.
If you're saying you keep it in euros or you keep it in Ethereum, that gives you the trust that you have on that currency.
No, but
The question.
I'm not talking about me, a crypto-friendly user. I'm talking about the 47 million people in Spain or the 400 people in Europe. Yeah, but we are, the term is called, esto es un palabro, realidad intersubjetiva. El caso, the thing that I trust, realidad intersubjetiva es algo que no es real como tal, es real porque yo pienso que es real y tú piensas que es real. Lo que decía ella sobre el dinero. Entonces, el consenso, como decía ella muy bien, que a mí no me salía, y perdón por hablar en español, el consenso sobre el euro en un mercado de 400 millones de personas es grande. El consenso sobre el Ethereum, sobre las criptomonedas, lo será o lo es.
Pero
But my question is
depende
you,
de la
where
comunidad,
do you
la,
keep your savings?
la
In
realidad
both.
de los países, pero a lo largo de la historia
Both.
de la humanidad, los países
Because
han
I have
sentado la
traditional products and I have crypto products.
a lo largo de la humanidad, la confianza que nosotros, los grupos sociales tienen confianza por ahora en estatutos que son los países. O sea, a lo largo de la historia de la humanidad, los países son los que han otorgado la confianza a creer en la divisa del país. De hecho, el estado de la economía del país refleja mucho el precio de la moneda.
Total.
Entonces, nosotros ahora creemos en países y se supone que la transferencia o sea, lo que se está haciendo es un cambio hacia una creencia en comunidades. Pero la cosa de la creencia en comunidades es que es un cambio que yo creo que para que se instaure en la sociedad vamos a necesitar tomarlo con paciencia porque por ahora los países son mucho más potentes que las comunidades. Por ahora. Y tenemos que, va a haber un momento, supongo, seguro que llega, que las comunidades, el poder de las comunidades sobrepase seguro porque es la globalización. Entonces, si es una comunidad globalista, es mucho más fácil que un país que depende pero claro, por eso creemos por eso yo creo en el euro, porque está soportado por Europa.
Estoy completamente de acuerdo.
Raro, pero sí de extrema derecha en muchos países contra la globalización.
Porque quieren seguir manteniendo su poder, a nadie le gusta que le quiten el poder. O sea, yo quiero tener mi poder. Y eso, o sea, hay muchos los conflictos entre países y las guerras han sido muchas veces guerras económicas, guerras de poder. Entonces, son bolas.
Estoy completamente de acuerdo con lo que dices.
Ay, sorry. Sorry, es que I don't know if
Yo creo que yo tampoco.
Your passion was not funny anyways. I think you expressed that in that way.
I think we are seeing that switch, but it's something that it's going to take time. But of course, we are seeing that switch. And what I talked earlier about one thing you said about the power that we have as little investors in doing these kind of things. We saw it with GameStop. You know what happened with GameStop in a community of completely little investors. Those little investors were capable of bringing down, and I don't say that that's something good, but bringing down a huge investment bank, or almost, I don't know if it dropped.
Wasn't GameStop
It closed.
going out? So I mean, like,
What?
let's try it out with Facebook.
No,
Apple.
No, but it's not.
No, but what I'm saying is that we are like things are changing and communities are starting to grow, and there is a lot of power in those communities. And yeah.
Part of the conclusion of the last talk about the history of money, did you realize that I made a point in there being 5 ethics or equals of money, different kinds of money, commodity money, metal money, certificate money, digital transactions, and digital money. One thing they have that was very difficult for me to investigate is I wanted to do a beautiful time frame. I wanted to tell to you, like, from this year to this year, the use stopped. And from this year to this year, the humanity found that finally we needed coins. From this year to this exact year. So I wanted to make this pretty and put it here in a chart. I didn't have a chart because I didn't have a time frame, because money is something imaginary, invented, and it has always been different what society accounts as money. And there have been many kinds of money in the same system at the same time. For example, at this right moment in Barcelona, there are colectivos, there are small groups of people using their own currency inside of Catalonia. And they have had their money for, I don't know how many years. I didn't think that much attention with that one. And they agree that's money. And they also use the euro. And they also use their money. And if they have crypto, because some of them have, they use crypto. And if they wanted, they could trade my phone for yours and whatever. Economic systems are going to co-live, and crypto is just co-living with regulatory and banks and governments, and the transition is going to be faster in economies that need it, like Argentina and maybe Nigeria. Venezuela might adopt it as soon as there's an on-ramp.
The security distortions are shit. the security, o sea, la seguridad de que el Estado, the security of
The government.
the country don't scam you, you don't have security that the government.
Yeah, but you don't have security here.
But there have no security in Germany.
Equal assistance of course. And there is a lot of things the provide.
Perdona que está. ¿Cómo te llamabas? Joel. Sorry, it's Joel who is trying to say something.
A lot of people don't understand the concept of coexistence, right? Many things could exist simultaneously at the same time as they have different value, different use cases, right? The only way we should be advocating for crypto is not to replace free currency, but is to coexist. And people have options, have choices. Do you want to go crypto? You want to spend crypto? You want to spend hard currency? You want to spend dollar? You want to spend it? We shouldn't be advocating for replacement. If it's happened, that would be evolutionary timelines. We happen over time. People we started across crypto, free currency will fade out. And my problem is majority of the people in position of free currency will still be a decision maker. So what we must consider as a decentralized environment might also transition decentralized environment, because decentralized might already come into the environment. They will even make it centralized. We see we have decentralized exchanges, we have centralized exchanges. You use centralized exchanges, so with your KYC, trust Binance, you trust Uniswap, you trust PancakeSwap, you trust SushiSwap, you trust Lido.
I think
So. This is what I'm saying, and this is also blockchain, right?
And Binance is quite easy to use. That
Exactly,
I need to
but-
use Uniswap, no sé qué, and I need to go
centralized exchange. They have your KYC. They submit everything. Like there is part of Binance that say still like if the third party government entity comes, they submit all the information. Still trust them. They're in blockchain, right? Decentralized environment. There is a decentralized environment. There's a centralized entity. We might eventually move into that even more centralized.
But Binance decide to do that. For example, people.com, they don't
Those
they
are,
don't do a lot,
trust
but
me,
that-
that's
that's
the biggest one. They have, they are the biggest one. Like they shift everything. So I'm going to tell you about crypto. I have them. I use them. I have my money staked there from, I don't know, thousands of dollars. Like probably what's on the token. What they also do is they arbitrate their users based on exchange rate. If I exchange 100 euros to pounds right now, when I convert it back, I might end up getting like 94.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they give you on an
So
arbitrage.
they monetize.
Yeah. And also they have a digital license from Spanish government.
So
Right,
you have,
so
they have your KYC.
They have your
sell-
KYC.
they
If
sell-
everything happens, they send it to Spanish government.
Are you
Those
talking
are
about
central-
Binance or Crypto.com?
Crypto.com.
Revolut, Crypto.com,
Crypto.com, I have-
that's outside of that,
Vos sientes que estamos súper
that,
dedicados a eso. Estamos
I'm just saying.
porque si no te dicen tú vas a quedar.
I just want
Y ya
to
está.
say a little
Se
thing
acabó
that
Binance.
there are hard crashes like Venezuela and Puerto
Bueno, así
Rico,
funciona.
and there are soft crashes like what happened to me. I have a restaurant. The oil last year went from 50 euros 25 liters to 105 euros 25 liters. So if you're telling me that the euro is not crashing, I'm gonna tell you you're very deluded.
no, I
Because
didn't say that.
my operational cost went up 100%, and everybody's power of purchasing went down 25% in a year, and you haven't even noticed, and you don't think that is a crash because you are in the imaginary Barbie world that we are in.
No, I'm talking about mainstream adoption of the things, and if you are talking about a huge market, which is the euro market, there is a lot of people that work with that environment.
And
And
the euro market is still building for I don't know 100 years.
yeah, of course.
It's not comparable to
No,
the
it's what I'm saying, that it's like how it works. And then we have like new technologies that give us new approaches to problems that we have. And we are facing those problems with this new technology that gives us, sorry, different ways of approaching those problems. And that's why we had Bitcoin, and that's why we have cryptocurrencies, blockchain, etc. I'm not saying that crypto is bad and euro is good. I'm saying, and I love that approach. That are two worlds that have to convert. And there's something more, and to make crypto and blockchain mainstream to the point that at least I want, we have to develop a lot the industry.
One quick question.
It's an industry of less than 10 years.
How do you think that the regulation creation process should be in a decentralized world?
I don't know. So
I think that's a very simple, simple logic about regulations. The first ever draft of MiCA regulations happened in November 2020. How I know that? Because it happened in Brussels. I was also invited. Happy to share with you some slides, what I took there personally. Now I can make it public. Back then it was not. It was discussed very well with the stakeholders because there is a organization, ADA, in France. So I'm part of it. So that's why I went there. And also my company was part of European Acceleration Program, about 60,000 euros of funding. Because of all these things, we got the access there. It was very well discussed with us. They didn't do everything what they promised or what they said, changed a little bit. But regulations are still good, although we have been hunted very badly by the same regulator. I understand that also. But I will just tell you something. Imagine now, like everybody have friends and enemies, right? For life. You have an enemy like really, really bad enemy that like you want to see. Do you have someone like that in mind? You don't have to tell it out loud. But just keep it in your heart. And imagine like now I make some magic, abracadabra. All the 40 or 50 million people in Spain will be completely statue for the next 1 hour. And I give you a Kalashnikov gun. Go and shoot him, put the gun in the river, just come back. And afterwards, everyone comes back to the light. Nobody knows who killed him, right? But what is stopping you now from doing that? It's the fear of the punishment. If that fear of the punishment is not there, then definitely they would do it. So if you have that fear, sometimes it's possible to reduce the scams, but not eliminate it completely.
I don't kill everyone because I don't want to kill anyone.
Exactly.
No, but
Sorry. I hate them, I want to kill them.
But you are not a scammer. If you think about a scammer, he doesn't say the thing.
Oh, well.
that's a very good point.
Yeah, but like it's where we think that's comfortable.
No, it's not killing. Scammer doesn't feel like somebody who pushes by. He doesn't. He just wants to steal money.
What about regulation in the cloud, intelligent regulation in the Kalashnikov? Because those are the tools are the ones that should be regulated, not the outside the tools. If you have a smart Kalashnikov, it doesn't matter who tries to kill you. He will never be able to kill you.
Well, Kalashnikov again was once again a metaphor. And you cannot regulate the hands.
No, what I mean is that we barely work with our hands anymore, and everything can be regulated from the instance itself. It's I'm talking about philosophical terms. Obviously, there's no concrete anything, but what we need to do is just try to. I believe that we need to try to change certain paradigms. And we need to really try to change the language and the structure of what it means. Right now, we are in a very interesting position where philosophically we can change a lot of things. We still work as in the beginning of last century with the same terminology. We don't have any left or right anymore. What the hell do we think? We still have to hear about the left-wing party and the right-wing party. We have up and down. That's it. So we need to redefine terms, and not only terms, but also the economy, what it means. The moment you start defining in different places, philosophically speaking, and then concretely speaking, then we can start building anew. So if we have a new concept in economy, we need to start building the new language of the economy. We cannot keep talking about the same thing that these Web2 governments are talking.
Look, I get what you're saying, but the problem is like here, no one is a criminal, and they're not thinking from that point of view. We made an IPO of our own token. Let me tell you something. We were using a software with our compliance officer along to see like who are the people who are going to buy the tokens. We stopped like issuing tokens for US citizens, for Chinese, and for people who are under UN sanctions. Not US sanctions, UN sanctions, globally. And then what happened, like we were seeing some people buying tokens from Russia, from Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and like so many other jurisdictions. They were under, you know, like UN sanctions for human trafficking, child trafficking, so many criminals like doing horrible things that you can't even imagine.
The Swiss bank has a lot of money of narcos, ex-Venezuelan president, ex-Mexican president.
But I want to say one thing.
And
That there are bad things that happens under regulation. It doesn't mean that regulation doesn't help to avoid those things.
Iba a decir antes un argumento que es la policía, un grupo de la policía es corrupta. No necesitamos policía. No.
no,
Lo que necesitamos es que la policía no pueda ser
pero
corrupta.
necesitamos un tipo de policía.
Una policía descentralizada, a lo mejor.
Necesitamos otro policía.
But you are talking about policy.
No, I'm talking about, okay, regulations are made of policies. Okay, if we're going to regulate something, there's a few rules that are called policies.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can do an analogy with what he's saying.
No, yeah, but what I say is that you are talking about maybe policy or regulations are not approaching our problems the way they should, but we have to have that framework.
Okay.
And
Yes,
I
exactly.
think that what he was also he talked about Mika, and Mika made like a really good basis on our space to develop and create products. And I say it from my perspective that I'm in a startup, and it's very difficult to adapt to those regulations. But still, I think those regulations are not doing like from a demon, like I don't want you to do this. No, I want to create the space, the safest space for everybody to get in.
And honestly,
maybe we are not doing it well, but I think that we have to do it.
and
Over
honestly,
a period of time, it will, you know, like it will reach that place. I'm not saying it's perfect now because the laws and the regulations, especially on stable coin from the regulation, it's really very bad. It's not good at all. It's not supportive and it's not even logical. But this is not what was originally discussed and what was going to happen with it. It was changed. Why and what we don't know, but what were obvious reasons that they don't want stablecoin to replace any fiat currencies.
Because there it's over. Fiat is over. Stablecoin actually settles. Fiat is over.
That's the reason, like, and also they were very scared about USD crash because we were discussing a lot with the regulators.
Sorry, I think Alex wanted to say something, and then you can.
no worries. I would love to share some things with you, because I think maybe we get a lot of attachment with our ideas, and maybe we have to learn to think in a bigger frame. Let's think about something. I'm a psychologist, okay? And I try to look the things not from an economic part, but for a human perspective. And the reason because we have this conflict is, as a human beings, we aren't able to create a new economic system from scratch. We are using already another time the terms like inflation for Solana, deflation for Bitcoin, limited supply for Bitcoin. These terms are absolutely normal and naive economic terms. We are not creating a new system, guys. If we want to do that, we need to change the way of our things. And just one metric. Do you think we are creating a new paradigm? Honestly, no. The number of MetaMask wallets in the whole world are, I think the metric is 25% of Cristianos Ronaldo's followers on Instagram. So, I mean, search for this metric, it's real, man. Maybe it's not 25, maybe it's 30, 31, okay? But this is a real number. And the thing is, we need to approach this problem in that way. Okay, let's not talk about inflation for Solana with blockchain regulation, bonding curve, blah, blah, blah. No, let's talk. Are there another value mechanisms without inflation? Do we really understand what value means? What is a currency? It's an instrument for exchange values. What is value? I think this is the question. If we want to innovate the thing, we have to really change the way of we thinking and we approach the value.
Also, there is one point that we haven't mentioned, that is how things are interconnected. Because in the way we are used to, like the euro bar, the war in Ukraine, now the war in Israel, this will change the value of everything.
The
Will
Polynesian
change
people know
the value of your market.
the value of the things that the people right now, because the Polynesian people maybe great Bitcoin.
Okay.
You said.
First off, I think we got lost a little bit. Stable coins are not stable.
Because coins.
For sure.
Because stable coin is
different stability.
yeah. Stable coins are not stable. Stable coin is reliant on real currency. It's peer 1 2. Without real currency, there will be no stable coin. Your stable coin value is based on dollar. It's like if everything you pride yourself on right now is still based on a centralized entity determine the value of your stable coin, we might see stable coin pegging from, because now like it's stable coin really stable. And the stable coin is standalone stable coin that doesn't have any attachment to real currency, right? So that means the government could also manipulate what you consider as a stable coin right now. And also we are forgetting the individual manipulation of cryptocurrency, right? Most of the things we pride ourselves in right now is being manipulated or determined by big money. And what I say is, if token market cap and fully diluted valuation is directly proportional of the volume being traded on that token. Let's assume a token market cap is 1 million, and I have 1 million to spend, and I buy the token. The market cap will go to 2 million. Right, that means my average buying power is already, if I buy the token at $1, now the average price is probably 0.7. If I sell the token right after I buy it, because the price of the token will go up, and I sell it, I'll make a profit. That means your market cap that was 1 million before probably become 750,000. So
yeah, we think,
so this is like,
we think many times that crypto is like completely out of the system.
Yes,
maybe crypto is also the system.
Easily manipulated system for half people, right? And also market maker, right? That manage the order book of every crypto asset to easily manipulate the price. So let us not get over ourselves when it comes to the currency aspect or exchange of value asset, because that will easily be manipulated, like the big governments are doing it, printing more money. Also, this comes down to understanding the smart contract that the coin is being built on. There are smart contract that is mintable. That means they also mint money, print more token out of thin air, like the government is doing right now. So how many Ethereum has unlimited supply? Yes. Unlimited supply. There are more Ethereum. We're talking about not only inflation, we're talking about hyperinflation. Right? There is a lot of things we do that we don't really know. There are a lot of tokens you are holding right now that the developer actually minting more token, that's making the value of your token going down, because they mint more, they sell more. The value of the token you're holding right now is depreciated.
Okay,
Those are calling human, like those are the people fighting for decentralization.
okay, so philosophically speaking, okay, what is the white paper solution to see?
There is no, and again, he said, we're talking about social, human, philosophical perspective. We are animals. We look for what benefits us, not what benefits collective. Everybody fighting for themselves. It's an individual risk.
We can see in the
I would
collective.
defend that.
You just have
Okay.
to see that the world is global, and what we do has a consequence in other part of the world.
Yeah, yes, that is
That's all. One sec.
You said that
One sec.
what you said is true,
Okay.
unfortunately. So
I
No,
understand
and it's gonna be true all the.
Je peux parler en plus. One
Yeah,
sec.
all because I think.
Go with focus on
I don't
Okay.
agree. You have a minibar, right? No,
Sorry.
Elevated not to be driven by those animal instincts.
No, I mean, that's an animal instinct. It's a supervillain instinct that also we have. And Harari, do you know
We
Homo
see-
sapiens of
Yeah,
Harari?
Homo sapiens. So in the
We
Homo
can
sapiens,
see,
there
this
is
is-
Homo
Please,
sapiens.
Backlink wanted to.
Yeah, I have to. So this is what happens as a group. See the war that is happening in Ukraine, in Israel. These are the human
that's
threats.
so sad.
It's sad. And imagine what is going to happen when cryptocurrency becomes a thing, where you could buy, sponsor entire nation. It's untraceable coin, right? Or using cryptographic zero knowledge base that nobody could trace back to the wallet. And you could sponsor an entire country for wage war. Other countries.
For the reason we need some kind of regulation.
Exactly. Same.
Yeah,
But to what extent?
Yeah, but what I think is like
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
but you mentioned something about market makers, like manipulating the market, which is really, really true. Like,
It's happening. I work with them every day.
yeah, well, it happens even in NASDAQ. Citadel
Exactly. Yeah.
Citadel is the best
Mm.
market manipulator for stock. I know it very well. But MiCA regulation specifically says that any market maker doing market making, they cannot do any wash trading. So it's been prohibited because they have an internal control system wherein like all the trades have to be disclosed. So if they come to know like you are actually doing it,
Okay, so this is where it even get complicated, right? We're talking about with other mining technology, power of the technology. We have now a lot of people are developing sophisticated zero knowledge, privacy preserving technology that will make if hacks happen in the ecosystem, the money will go through tornado cash and then come out. Those are cryptographic protocol that once money goes inside, nobody knows how it's coming outside. The same thing is being developed as an algorithm by market maker, whereby the it cross the market maker. Nobody knows where the volume is coming from. Nobody knows which wallet is transacting. Not unlike on centralized entity, but on decentralized protocols, right? They are doing this. They use advanced cryptography, quantitative or algorithm to make everything super like market maker could trade with 1 million wallets.
yeah, but like
no.
that you're speaking about like it's not traceable.
It's not traceable
Yeah,
exactly.
can you give some examples because I would like to make research on this one.
Just go like okay, so I know I don't know if you know this market maker. It's called CLS. They are like Ukrainian guys. They are already working because I work closely with them. They're already working on the zero knowledge part of marketing. They are not only using like quantitative advanced algorithm.
It's only for decentralized.
Yeah, the centralized exchange. But in centralized exchange is not the other pool. Everything needs to be because sometimes they call the API of the project they're working on.
No, algorithm
Yeah,
manipulation is very easy. Can be done very
Yeah,
easily.
it could be
High
done like
frequency
you could say that. But and again, if what's trading a centralized entity, all those centralized exchanges actually know. Because right now, if you go to Binance, you will see a low volume, low market cap token generating massive volume. And your volume, your daily volume is directly proportional.
Right, sometimes even bigger than the whole market cap.
Exactly. That's how you play. What is happening?
I'm sorry.
I think you wanted. We are like running out of time now. That we have like 5 minutes or something like that. You wanted to say something,
Yeah.
I mean, like explaining, we should remember that our species, because I don't like the race word, that is not scientifically true, but still people, but like we are called Homo sapiens. And sapiens in Latin is intelligence. So like we are supposed to be an intelligent animal.
yeah, very a little bit arrogant for.
Even so it's also like calling yourself intelligent. I feel it's arrogant. That's why I always refuse to call myself a blockchain expert. And so when people ask me if I'm a blockchain expert, I say it's not me who should reply to this question. It's you could reply yourself to the question after discussing with me, or you can ask others about me and those kind of things. So I agree on the arrogant, but then at least the scientific community has a consensus. Has reached a consensus on Homo sapiens, and so feel we should, instead of like incentivizing, as we say, I even like this financial incentives, but like instead of promoting the individualism, we should more promote collectivism, because even this has a bad reputation, because collectivism makes think about communism, and communism was not really communism when it was right, it was Stalinism or this kind of thing. But so instead of thinking personally, if we think more globally, or at least in a collectivity, so like thinking about the other before thinking about ourselves, like the opposite of what you say in airplanes. That I agree that you need to make yourself safe before trying to. You need to help yourself before trying to help others, because if you are not safe, you cannot help others to be safe. But it's always a balance. Like a simple question is, how many money is enough to live with? If you ask this question to people, I bet that nobody will give the same answer. Even you could say, yeah, but if you ask in different country, of course you will have different answer. But even here, in the same place, in the same room, so in the same location, even if it's people living in the same city for years, you will. I bet you will never get. Even if if it's spontaneous and if it's not organized, because you can't organize it to get the same answer. Like you can do also the social experiment of about the reality, about is this paper green or red? And if you organize it and you say someone will enter, I will ask if this shirt is red or green, and you will have a consensus that everybody will reply this shirt is green. Everybody, I think, sees that this shirt is red. We reach a consensus, but if we reach another, if we decide together to reach another consensus and declare that this shirt is green, and then we make someone enter the group and we ask him if this shirt is red or green, and not ask him first, but if we ask to the group of people first, saying, do you agree that this shirt
that
is
becomes
green?
the reality.
And if a lot of people, maybe more than that, agree that this shirt is green, and then we ask the people that are entered before, like, do you agree that this shirt is green? Like it has been tested, and most of the people will agree that the shirt is is green, even if it says, even if they see it's red. And this is, I feel, even more manipulation.
But then that can work also, that sense of community and community perception of things that can also change the perception. Good, I know we are mean animals. I understand that. But if we decide that that is morally wrong, and this whole group says that whatever is morally wrong, then we're getting into the ethics and moral dilemma.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that some narcos think that that they should legalize and it's a legitimate business. And you were talking about the slave trade and the normal for them, they own a legitimate business. So we need to also reach a consensus, moral consensus and ethical consensus. And we know that if we decide as a consensus that that is green, the next guy will not have a choice. That is going to be green. So if we all decide on our consensus on the new moral and ethical rules, maybe we can onboard more people on moral and ethical rules
That was a
in
great.
the blockchain
But
space.
there is another question.
Activated.
Are we talking about we? Which
Huh.
group is we?
Oh,
And let me say
yeah,
something.
you're right.
Maybe what everyone decides, maybe it's not the best choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to
Right.
like let's say Brazil and say what's the best music? Is bossa nova or is funk? And then you have lots of people saying it's funk. But then funk is just and bossa nova has lyrics and then you lose that. So
That's something.
I loved. You can talk now, but I loved his approach, like very philosophical for ending this. And I wanted to ask you, anybody of you, if you have like any philosophical insight to end this, and if you have it, it's more than welcome. And you can talk now.
Yeah, philosophical and because just that I think it's not that prepared for election. So, and that was the example. Someone comes after we declared on the share is going to be red, and say that it's going to be red, but green, red. But that's why I think that people is not prepared for election. Most so people just that people is not prepared for election. So we have to develop things keeping that in mind. So the majority of people is not prepared for election themselves.
Okay, let me offer other perspective. And I'm going to use a typical example of a DAO, Web3 DAO, similar DAO system. If you go to the top level DAO voting system, you will notice something, right? Most of the votes are delegates. Okay? That means I will give my tokens to the delegate my token. Yeah, just
That's a big point.
yeah. I mean, it's not give up. Just delegate my token. But the token is going to be out of your custody, so it's more like delegate your token to them. And then when there is a proposal, right, people that majority of the community delegated their token to as a validator have to vote on their behalf. Now, let's say a group of 5 people voted on it. That means a lot of people vote that count as yes, technically, the number of the people voted because they have been delegated, their vote have been delegated to one individual. And the same approach is different. Like let's say we have a family of 5, we have to vote for a government, maybe we have different philosophy on political understanding. And I want to vote for this person, my father I want to this person. Imagine everybody from the family give you only one person the authority to vote for their behalf.
Yeah.
That is exactly what is happening in the majority of the DAOs, right? And this is things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Say, oh, decentralized, autonomous organization. But most of the votes, and a lot of people don't even read the proposal. They go into DAO, they see this proposal already have a lot of yes. Now I'm voting yes. Majority carries the vote. That means
I like-
a lot of people vote for
I
them.
think-
That's for sure.
I link this with something that Alex said earlier. I love it. In his speech, which was like, don't trust anyone. Like we sometimes see the tech, we see the doubts, we see and it's like very pumping, very nice, and it's like, oh, okay, let's do it. But don't do it. Like, look it, study it, think about it, and then take a decision. And I think that's
And
what
the same thing happens to all
we
of
have to
us.
do. I don't know
When you
how
buy
are we
it,
doing
when you buy
with
Bitcoin
time.
or when you buy Ethereum, you really understand it or you just buy it because people speak about it.
Haven't bought it.
We observe.
Yeah, but maybe the room
Hey, in terms of time, like we can stay here until 10 p.m., but I don't know how.
I know.
Let's bring beers.